Welcome into the Alabama Football Report. I am Tom Denny. Before we get into today's show, focusing on Nick Saban's comments, some recruiting updates as well, I want to hear from you guys in the comments section. What do you think the Alabama football record will end up being this year? Is it going to be a double-digit win season, a down year for Nick Saban, which would still be like 10 wins because he's awesome? Sound off in the comments section. And speaking of Nick Saban, he sounded off at SEC spring meetings on the current NIL landscape. I thought he actually had some really interesting notes and points discussing how the NIL has actually been implemented, some of the pay-to-play stuff, and he thinks it's becoming more and more like the NFL and less like the college side. So let's break down what Saban said verbatim here. If you think there's a disparity in college football now, there's going to be a lot more in the future. Name, image, and likeness is a good thing for players to be able to make money, but when it turns into pay for play, now you're getting into a different area. Unionize it. Make it like the NFL. If it's going to be the same for everyone, I think that's better than what we have now. When we have what we have now in some states, in some schools in some states, investing a lot more money in managing their roster than others. This is going to create a real competitive disadvantage for some in the future, and it's also going to create an imbalance in the competitive nature of the sport. I think most people would agree with Nick Saban. Now, maybe some of them don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, but we certainly are trending more and more towards the haves and have-nots, even at a bigger level than like Alabama and say UAB, for example. There's already the giant dichotomy in the gap there. It could get worse from like Alabama to a Vanderbilt, for example, a lesser Power 5 program as a potential hypothetical example there. So I totally get where Nick Saban's coming from. I do think NIL is a positive for college football as a net. I also think that the NCAA, college football, athletics, etc., have only themselves to blame because you could have prevented this. Hugh Freeze went off about, you can't let players be transferring. Should have only been if their coach gets fired or leaves or they graduated. Which, yeah, that's what it should have been. But what happens is when you wait and don't make changes, instead of trying to set the market in advance to help control the process, you allow the process and the market to control you. And that's where college football is currently at. So as a whole, do you like NIL? I do appreciate players being allowed to get paid because that's just fair. They make so much money, especially the top-end guys. Maybe a union in general would provide some stability from that perspective. But do you like it? Y for yes and for no. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let us know. A lot more rhyming than I meant there. But Julian Sayin is our next topic on today's show. He took part in the Steve Clarkson quarterback retreat. Happens almost every year if you include the whole COVID thing, over the Memorial Day weekend. And based on every single person that was there from different scouting services, certainly sounds like Julian Sayin was the top quarterback at that event. He drew praise from 24/7 Sports, from rivals, and more. Let's begin with what Greg Biggins of 24/7 Sports wrote. If we had to pick a top overall performer, it would have to be Carlsbad, California quarterback and Alabama commit Julian Sayin. Sayin was really impressive in every drill, and even some of the college counselors were commenting that this kid looks different. Now, it is high school, it is recruiting, it's always a bit of hyperbole. That's a good sign. Another source was Rivals. They put together their top 6 quarterbacks there. It was Julian Sayin from Alabama, or going to Alabama, the commitment, I should say, at number 1. Back-to-back Julians leading the way. I guess that's the name to be for a quarterback right now. Julian Lewis is number 2. Bayer Bachmeier, elite name. Both those last 2 names, Lewis and Bachmeier, uncommitted, along with George McIntyre. Jaden Davis of Michigan was number 5, and Colin Hurley of LSU was number 6. Julian Sayin is the early gem of the 2024 recruiting class for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's a 5-star. He's number 11 overall. He is the number 2 quarterback for now, number 1 out of California. Lincoln Riley in shambles, kind of like his briskets are. Who knows? I think this is a big get for Alabama. And if you are excited about him, I understand it. It's Alabama. It's 5-star quarterback. We know the hit rate actually isn't that good, and it's an entire year from now before he's a true freshman. So if your excitement is high, go for it. If it's low, I understand dealing in maybe more of the normalcy when it comes to the recruiting side of things. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments either way. What is your excitement level looking forward, looking ahead to Julian Sayin a year, 2, 3 years, whatever sort of makes his real impact for Alabama? 1 to 10's the scale. Sound off in the comment section. When it's some recruiting, some just new stuff here. The summer enrollees have arrived on campus for the Crimson Tide, so I want to make note of them here. What you'll see on screen is their star rating and their overall rating. So Keon Keeley's a 5-star, number 2 overall. Yanze Pierre, 5-star, number 30. Richard Young, number 60, is a 4-star. Of course, we've made a big deal about the early enrollee, Justice Haynes, for the Crimson Tide at that same spot. Kicker Connor Talty will probably have a redshirt year because he's a kicker. He's a 3-star, the top 2,000, but, he's a kicker, so the recruiting rankings are always super-duper low there. Only 4 summer enrollees as they on the recruiting side. Everyone else was an early enrollee. These guys went ahead and finished out their normal, emphasis on normal. It's not normal to be a highly touted high schooler. They finished out their normal high school classes this year, didn't enroll early. And then there were the summer transfer enrollees. The 2 defensive backs, Jalen Key out of UAB. God, I'm rhyming a lot today on accident. I think that's an apology from me. Trey Amos out of Louisiana, and then Tyler Buckner from Notre Dame. So those are trying to hit the ground running as we get closer and closer to fall practice, which I cannot wait for because, let's be honest, it's kind of a dead period at this stage. We will have you covered with all of the latest on fall ball, fall practice for the Crimson Tide, game coverage for you as well. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@RollTideTV. Finally, some more recruiting updates. The month of June about to hit, and it's going to be a pivotal one for the Crimson Tide. A lot of visits coming. Shout out 24/7 Sports for a nice handy list here. We'll break them down. Charles Lester III. This is the June 2nd to June 4th group, as I look down to make sure I'm pronouncing names correctly here. Charles III is a 5-star, number 16 overall. All the rankings and the stars per the 24/7 Sports composite. Commitment, wide receiver Perry Thompson, the 5-star. He'll be in town June 2nd to the 4th, along with tight end Caleb Odom, cornerback Kai Bates, and defensive lineman Terrence Hibbler. Everyone but Thompson is an uncommitted recruit. Weekend of June 9th to the 11th, Corian Gibson, a 4-star corner. And then a Georgia commit is coming to town. 4-star safety DeMello Jones. He's number 84 overall. Just behind him is offensive tackle Dylan Calhoun. 4-star athlete Amari Jefferson. And 4-star safety Joel Rogers as well. June 16th to the 18th. And this isn't necessarily a complete composite list. It's just the bigger names on there. Jalen Mbakwe is a commitment as well at Alabama, 5-star, number 19 overall. Weston Davis, 4-star tackle. 4-star wide receiver Keelan Adams. And 4-star cornerback Jameer Grimsley. You'll see a lot of 4-stars on here. It's Alabama, right? And then the big batch, 8 different recruits that we know of so far. Things, of course, can adjust, add, be removed, whatever. 5-star safety KJ Bolden. 5-star defensive lineman Edric Houston. 4-star corner Xavier Brown. 4-star safety, also a Georgia commit, a potential flip for the Crimson Tide, Peyton Woodard. 4-star athlete Arian Hampton. Then 2 4-star interior offensive linemen Casey Poe and William Satterwhite. And then 4-star offensive tackle Marquise Easley. We'll have more recruiting coverage for you guys here on the Alabama Football Report. So make sure you're subscribed for more free videos all season and off season long.